Hi, I'm the Crypto Lifer. Welcome to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment. I absolutely love the comments. Today, I'm going to get into impermanent losses. A lot of people are getting into liquidity pools, LP tokens, but they don't really understand the risk. I want to break down the risk for you, explain what's going on, so you can make a better informed decision on how to invest. So here we go, impermanent losses explained. If you've been involved with DeFi at all, you've almost certainly heard of the term thrown around. Impermanent loss happens when the price of your token changes compared to when you deposited them in the pool. The larger the change, the bigger the loss. Wait, so I can lose money by providing liquidity? And why is the loss impermanent? Well, it comes from an inherent design characteristic of a special kind of market called an automated market maker, an AMM. Providing liquidity to a liquidity pool can be a profitable venture, but you'll need to keep the concept of impermanent losses in mind. DeFi protocols like Uniswap, SushiSwap, or PancakeSwap have seen an explosion of volume and liquidity. These liquidity protocols enable essentially anyone with funds to become a market maker and earn market trading fees. Democratizing market making has enabled a lot of frictionless economic activity in the crypto space. So what do you need to know if you want to provide liquidity for these platforms? In this article, we'll discuss one of the most important concepts, impermanent loss. Impermanent loss happens when you provide liquidity to a liquidity pool, and the price of your deposited asset changes compared to when you deposited them. Okay? The bigger the change is, the more you are exposed to impermanent loss. In this case, the loss means less dollar value at the time of withdrawal than at the time of deposit. Pools that contain assets in a relatively small price range will be less exposed to impermanent loss. Stablecoins or different wrapped versions of a coin, for example, will stay in a relatively contained price range. In this case, there's a smaller risk of impermanent loss for liquidity providers. So why do liquidity providers still provide liquidity if they're exposed to potential losses? Well, impermanent loss can still be counteracted by trading fees. In fact, even pools on Uniswap that are quite exposed to impermanent loss can be profitable thanks to the trading fees. Uniswap charges 0.3% on every trade, and that directly goes to liquidity providers. If there's a lot of trading volume happening on a given pool, it can be profitable to provide liquidity even if the pool is heavily exposed to impermanent loss. This, however, depends on the protocol, the specific pool, the deposit of assets, and even wider market conditions. So, I'll give you an example. I got into Smoke at $12. I started providing liquidity. It went all the way to $2. That was a horrible loss, right? I put 500 bucks, turned into 200. But I earned so much fees, and I made so much on staking the LP tokens that I ended up doubling my $500 to $1,000, despite even losing in the price action by all the accumulative interest. So mind-blowing, right? Mind-blowing, 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 okay? So how does it happen? Let's go through an example. Alice deposits 1 ETH and 100 DAI into a liquidity pool. In this particular automated market maker, AMM, the deposit of token pair needs to be the equivalent of value. This means the price of ETH is 100 DAI at the time of deposit. This also means that the dollar value of Alice's deposit is 200 at the time of deposit. In addition, there's a total of 10 ETH and 1,000 DAI in the pool, funded by other LPs just like Alice. So Alice has a 10% share of that pool, and the total liquidity is 10,000. So let's say the price of ETH increases to 400 DAI. While this is happening, arbitrage traders will add DAI to the pool and remove ETH from it until the ratio reflects the current price. Remember, AMMs don't have order books. What determines the price of the assets in the pool is the ratio between them in the pool. While liquidity remains constant in the pool, the ratio of the asset changes. If ETH is now 400 DAI, the ratio between how much ETH and how much DAI is in the pool has changed. There is now 5 ETH and 2,000 DAI in the pool, thanks to the work of arbitrage traders. So Alice decides to withdraw her funds. As we know from earlier, she's entitled to a 10% share of the pool. As a result, she can withdraw 0.5 ETH and 200 DAI, totaling 400 USD. She made some nice profit since her deposit of the tokens was worth 200, right? But wait, what would have happened if she just held her 1 ETH and the 200 DAI? The combined dollar value of these holdings would be 500 USD now. We can see that Alice would have been better off holding rather than depositing into the liquidity pool. This is what we call impermanent loss. In this case, Alice's loss wasn't that substantial as the initial deposit was a relatively small amount. Keep in mind, however, that impermanent loss can lead to big losses, including a significant portion of the initial deposit. With that said, Alice's example completely disregards the trading fees she could have earned from providing liquidity. In many cases, the fees earned would negate the losses and make providing liquidity profitable nonetheless. Even so, it's crucial to understand impermanent loss before providing liquidity to a DeFi protocol. So, they happen when the price of the asset in the pool changes. But how much is it exactly? We can plot this on a graph. Note, this doesn't account for fees earned from the liquidity pool. So if there's a 1.25% price change, you get a 0.6% loss. So not bad if you get a double if the price goes up by 1.25%. You know, so there's so much going on here, right? And the risk of providing liquidities. Frankly, impermanent loss isn't a great name. It's called impermanent loss because the losses only become realized once you withdraw your coins from the liquidity pool. At that point, however, the losses very much become permanent. The fees you earn may be able to compensate for the losses, but it's still a slightly misleading name. Be extra careful when you deposit your funds into an AMM. As we've discussed, some liquidity pools are much more exposed to impermanent loss than others. A simple rule, the more volatile the assets are in the pool, the more likely it is that you can get exposed to an impermanent loss. It can also be better to start by depositing a small amount. That way, you can get a rough estimation of what returns you can expect before committing a more significant amount. One last point to look for: more tried and tested AMAs. DeFi makes it quick and easy for anyone to fork an existing AMM and add small changes. This, however, may expose you to bugs, potentially leaving your funds stuck in the AMA forever. If a liquidity pool promises unusually high returns, there's probably a trade-off somewhere, and the associated risks are also higher. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you can find out when I post my next video. And if you'd like to get to know me more, please hit the link in the Telegram. That's where you can join my group and become a lifer. Look out for more videos of this nature to help you guys understand DeFi.